Now to officially start our meeting, Commissioner Batchelor, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll start off our meeting this morning. First item on our agenda is approval of the regular session minutes of March 24th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Item number C is a proclamation this morning for Child Abuse Prevention Month. We should have Tina Pocock on this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for being with us. This is proclamation this morning for the Child Abuse Prevention Month of April 20th, 2021. Whereas National Child Abuse Prevention Month will be recognized throughout the United States during the month of April 2021, and whereas child abuse and neglect is a serious problem affecting every segment of our community and is a pressing issue impacting many of Ohio's children each year, and whereas in 2020 there were approximately 686,000 reports of child abuse and neglect in the United States, Clermont County received a total of 1,100 new reports in 2020. Whereas our children are our most precious resource, each child has the right to live and grow in a safe and secure environment with a caring adult who will provide guidance and support. And whereas in order to be successful, effective child abuse prevention efforts can succeed through a coordinated and meaningful connection with all community partners, no one person can do everything, but everyone can do something, and together we can create change for the better. And whereas when the entire community takes a responsibility in creating healthy lives for our children, we'll be laying the foundation for each child's positive growth and development by raising our leaders of tomorrow. And whereas this month it is important for every community member to consider what they can do to support our prevention efforts, listen to our children, report concerns, become a foster parent, or simply show your care by reaching out to a child in need. During the month of April, the Clermont County Job and Family Services is requesting all citizens share the responsibility. We are raising awareness this year by wearing the color blue on April 14th, 2021. By wearing blue, you will highlight the importance of recognizing that it takes all community members together to make a difference in the lives of our children. And whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and our families. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Clermont County Commissioners does hereby proclaim the month of April 2021 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Clermont County, Ohio, and urge that the citizens of Clermont County give full support to efforts towards child abuse prevention and protecting our most precious resource, the children of Clermont County. And this is signed by Claire B. Corcoran, President, David L. Painter, Vice President, and Bonnie Batchelor, Member. And we thank you for everything that your entire department does. You have one tough job, and I think in this past year, we probably missed a lot of children out there who, because they could not report to school or report to their caregivers the problems in their homes. But hats off to you guys. You do a great job. Thank you. And thanks for being with us this morning. Anything you'd like to say? The floor is yours.
I'd just like to say, like you had stated, we had responded to 1,100 reports of abuse, neglect, and dependency. And despite the circumstances that did halt most of the country this past year, Children's Service remained committed to our community. We want to say that in 2021, the Family First Prevention Service Act will be in effect. This act is a twofold and focuses on prevention and secondly on ensuring appropriate placements for children and youth. The goal is to ensure safety, well-being, and permanency for children and their families. We know that the act of removing children from their families and homes creates emotional distress and trauma. In addition, we know that some children we can better serve by helping them remain safely at home with their parents, receive the community supports and services that they need. The first part of this act focuses on providing resources, supports, and services to help maintain children in their homes safely. When children must be removed to ensure safety, the second part of the act then focuses on the appropriateness placement for children and youth. The understanding that children and youth have a better outcome when they grow up in a family setting, whether with kinship, foster, or returning to their parents and caregivers safely. This goal is to minimize the amount of youth and children in residential treatment centers and to find safe and permanent families for each of them. It is our goal to work alongside the youth and their caregivers to collaborate with any needed community providers and our programs to ensure permanency and well-being. We value each family and those who are dedicated to surrounding and supporting them during these most needed times. With that being said, Clermont County Children's Protective Services is committed to providing quality and integrity practice to our community. We are dedicated to ensuring that children are safe, the barriers are removed, and that each child can grow up with a family. I thank you for your time and your willingness to support the continued efforts to ensure that children have a safe and stable place to call their own. It is our endeavor that we must continue to work together to support our community. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you,
And
Tina.
the entire board thanks you this morning, and your entire team there. It's a hard job, I know. I was in that department, Job and Family Services, and I appreciate everything you do, as I'm sure the entire board does. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well done.
We are moving on now to item D. Board, it's consent agenda. We've had this in advance for our review. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Any concerns? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner, do you
Yes.
want to move staff and elected officials discussion? I believe we have Julianne Nesbitt
Yes, I
on the
will.
line.
Yes, thank you kindly. We're going to move item H, county staff elected officials, up right after the consent agenda now under item D. And we have Julian with us this morning, is that correct? Health Department? Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. So just to kind of I'll be brief today and give kind of a quick update on where we're at. Our case rates have really kind of stabilized over the last week or so. We saw them dropping significantly since January. Our case rates are kind of hovering around 120 over that kind of 120 per 100,000 over the 14-day kind of average that we're seeing. But they've really stopped and stabilized. We're starting to see them kind of bounce up and down from day to day, which happens with the data as it kind of comes in. But a little bit concerning because we would really like to continue to see that downward trend to get us down to that rate of 50 per 100,000. But hopefully, as we continue to vaccinate more and more individuals, we'll continue to see those numbers drop with that. So as far as vaccine is going, we're doing great up at UC Clermont. Again, can't thank them enough for their partnership, because we have been able to more than double our throughput of what we can put through in a day in order to vaccinate. So we do have about just over 54,000 of our residents have restarted to receive their vaccine, and about 31,000 have completed the series. We primarily administer Pfizer is what we receive. However, we are aware that Johnson & Johnson will be going to some of the mass vaccination sites kind of around us. So Cintas Center will be receiving some of that, and then the Wilmington Airport, which our residents are more than welcome to schedule into those. Also, if they're particularly looking for Johnson & Johnson, we don't care where people get vaccinated from. We just want them to get vaccinated in doing that. So really starting to see, I mean, that puts us a little over 26% of our population who have at least started to initiate the vaccine series in doing that. So we still got a little ways to go, though. I do want to caution a little bit. I think, the warm weather, and it's great, and everybody wants to be outside, and masks are kind of coming off, and it might be a little premature in doing that. We want to continue to see those cases on that downward trend, and we want to continue to vaccinate as many people as we can, as quickly as we possibly can with that. Our vaccine appointments do fill up very quickly. For us at the health department, we release our appointments on Thursdays at noon currently, is when we put our appointments out for the next week. on that. Unfortunately, we've kind of started to see some increases in no-shows, which when that occurs and it happens early enough in the day, we can open those appointments back up and they get gobbled up throughout the day. So we do encourage people to kind of be monitoring that, that they may be able to get appointments that are coming in. But we really do encourage people to not double book appointments. And if you do get an appointment somewhere else, which is fantastic, and it's sooner than what you can get in with us, that's great. But please cancel your appointment with us instead of just no showing, because that can cause issues for us in doing that. So the other thing is, again, we encourage people to just, if you have an appointment, we have vaccine for you for that day. So don't worry about it and do not show up early because that can kind of gum up our works a little bit at times. We're working on getting creative with our scheduling to try to not have those, backup lines and ebbs and flows, but really it moves through very quickly. Most people, from the time you hit the door until you're in your seat in the waiting area, is about 5 minutes or so. So doing really well up there. Just want to, again, kind of encourage everyone to kind of remain vigilant here. I know everybody's, done and over with it and we're kind of towards the end, but we just need to kind of maintain that to get us to a little bit better place, get a few more people vaccinated. So hopefully by the summer, we're in a really good position. So that is all I have, unless you have questions for me.
Julianne, can I ask you, the no-shows, are you being able to fill those spots?
Yeah, so currently with the ArmorVac system that we use, as long as we know that a person has truly no-showed, we can fill those spots. We can open up clinic appointments throughout the day. And additionally, as soon as someone cancels in that app, it automatically opens it up. And that's why we really encourage people, if you can't make it, please cancel that appointment. Do it yourself because it automatically does that. Otherwise, we have to kind of wait around and see if you're just running a little bit late, if you're going to show up. And then what we do is we still kind of have, at the end of the day, we try to fill anything that we have to finish out, whatever vials of vaccine that we have. If we do have to carry over, we just carry over to the next day, and then we can eventually open up additional appointments to do that. So yes, any of our no-shows right now, we are doing our best to be able to fill those appointments. But at some time, the concern becomes we don't want to run into a situation where we would have to waste vaccine because people did not show up to an appointment.
Right. Thank you.
Hey, Julianne, just for general mask usage, where are we at today as far as, we're under a mask mandate. That mask mandate requires that we should wear a mask indoors. I mean, just what's the general usage?
Yeah, so I mean, anytime, indoors when you're in public places. So obviously, CDC's come out with some additional guidance about what you can do in your private residence. Ohio has never said what, you can really do in your private residence on that. But, so if you're going to start see family members and you want to start to have kind of small get-togethers and everyone's vaccinated, obviously in those situations, you're more than welcome to take those masks off. And visit, in those types of situations. But when we're still going out and about in public, anytime we're going to go to the grocery store, into a business, into any place, the mask mandates are still in effect at that point. And we just want to be courteous of others and make sure we're putting that mask on. Even if we're vaccinated at this point, there's no way to really kind of, we have not really reached that herd immunity yet. So you can't tell if someone is or is not vaccinated. Vaccines are not 100% effective. Even the vaccines we have that have higher efficacy rates are at 95%. It means 5% of the population isn't necessarily going to necessarily be 100% vaccinated from it. They may have a very mild case. They may still be able to spread that. Also, please keep in mind, we have no vaccine availability for anyone 15 and under at this point. So we still have a large chunk of our population who can get it and have no options for vaccine in order to do that. And then obviously we still have concern for those who even some of our older populations who may not have had that opportunity yet to get vaccinated. So for now, we need to keep the masks on. I know nobody likes them. We don't like them either. But for right now, it's really what we need to do to kind of keep things curbed at this point until we can kind of reach a little bit better place.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julianne. Any other staff discussions this morning?
Yes, we have Terry Brandenburg, our HR coordinator, and Gary Caudle, our safety coordinator, who want to update the board on our BWC claims.
Good morning, commissioners. How are you today?
Fine. Hi,
Doing
Terry.
good.
Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good. So we, as Greg mentioned, we have Gary Caudle on here as well this morning. We are just going to be giving a brief summary of the claims totals over the past 3 years, 2018 through 2020. Gary and I have seen a significant decrease in the number of injuries and claims that have been reported to us, and we just wanted to kind of shed a little bit of light on that. I'm going to try to share my screen as I'm sharing this. So can you see that graph there?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So as you can see from the numbers on the chart, the claim totals each year have decreased. We feel, as you can see, in 2020, we had about around close to 50% less than we did in 2018. That's both lost time and medical only claims. We feel that this trend is very important, obviously, because these numbers are representing our employees. The numbers, we look at injuries, but we also, as an employer, these injuries not only represent a physical injury, but they represent an altered way of life for our employees until they get back to that good health that they were prior to the injury. So it's an interruption in their daily lives, things that make them happy, things that they're able to go out and do, and those injuries are an interruption, and we're not okay with that. So Gary and I feel strongly that the decrease in these incidents is because of the increased safety culture that has been renewed within the county over the past few years. We feel that the employees are no longer just showing up to work. They're to get through the day. We're taking time. We're thinking before we act. We're committing to getting ourselves and our coworkers home safely and the way that we came into work. In addition, it's changed our culture. We're working with the departments to find ways to accommodate work restrictions that are given when these injuries do occur, so that most employees can continue working and maintaining their normal as much as possible. And we know that the way things have been the past year, normal is good. We try to keep it there as much as possible. So, as these numbers are coming down, we feel that the morale has gone up within our workforce. And we, as a team, will continue to strive for fewer and fewer incidents until we have none. 0 is our goal. And, we just have a fantastic team here at Clermont County, and we feel that we will be able to achieve this goal. So that's all I have, Gary. I don't know if you have anything to add, or if you guys have any questions for us. We're available to answer those.
Terry, you covered it pretty well there. I think one of the big things is our communication around the county with our upper supervision and the support, especially from the administration building. We're getting out and doing a one-on-one with all the workers and employees has really helped tremendously. And then I think the investigations of the incidents that did occur gives them a knowledge that we do care and that we are concerned about reaching our target 0. Yeah.
Hey, Gary and Terry, just one question. Do you track first aids only?
We do. Even though those don't get reported to the Bureau because there's no medical or lost time, we do keep track of those. Gary still does investigations, and that is so we can prevent that situation from causing an injury. Even though it didn't this time, we want to make sure it doesn't next time.
And the only reason I ask that is when I looked at that chart that you provided, that was one thing that was not on that chart. For me, that's a great indicator of what the incident rate is. Obviously, Gary can talk about that. So many first aids equals 1 medical, and so many medical equals 1, lost workday injury. So many lost workday injuries equals 1 fatality. So all of those 4 measurements are a great measurement for that. My suggestion would be to include that, for us to take a look at, just to see where that's at. And then the other thing is any reported change in insurance costs or workman's compensation costs to the county because of the lower incident rate?
Premiums have gone down each year. I don't have those numbers available at this time, but it has steadily decreased as well. because
Yeah.
of that, all of the factors that go in have reduced that premium cost.
Absolutely. A modifier rating always goes down with less injuries. You're starting to get down there to where it really gets tough to go from, 4 or 7 to 0. That's where your toughest work is done right there. But there's a huge cost savings, for that reduction in injuries. So, hey, my hat's off to you. Great job, Gary. Great job out in the field, and safety is everybody's responsibility. Great job to the people who actually work in the field who are starting to adopt that safety culture. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you this morning. Appreciate both of you being on with us today. Do we have any other county staff or elected official discussion this morning? Hearing none, we'll move on to item E. Our non-consent agenda starts on page 5 with item number 11. Item number 11 is a recommendation of the Board of County Commissioners to adopt resolution number 046-21, resolving to approve payments to vendors in the total amount of $1,439,342.21 as set forth in the BCC approval invoice report for checks dated March 31st, 2021, BCC directed prepaid invoices reports, and or the procurement card transaction report as presented by the county auditor on March 29, 2021, and further authorizing the county auditor to issue warrants for same pursuant to Section 319.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there a further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes. Item number 12. Tim Dick, are you with us this morning for Department of Job and Family Services?
I am. Good morning,
Morning.
Commissioners. Item
Morning.
number
Morning.
12 is my recommendation with the concurrence of Thomas County Administrator to execute an amendment to the contract for services by and between the Board of Clermont County Commissioners on behalf of the Clermont County Department of Job and Family Services and Speak Right LLC, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on December the 8th, 2020, and effective for the period of January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, relative to the provision of voice-to-document transcription services for caseworkers of the Department of Job and Family Services, Children's Protective Services Division, to increase the total amount not to exceed from $10,000 to $60,000 to meet the high demand for voice document transcription services throughout 2021, effective upon execution through December 31st, 2021, with all other terms and conditions of the original contract for services to remain in full force and effect. Commissioners, this has been a really successful program that Children's Services has implemented. The caseworkers are utilizing it and is providing more thorough documentation as well as efficiency, time saving for the caseworkers. So that's why we're asking for this increase.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 12, which has been the recommendation of Timothy Dick, Director of Job and Family Services, Clermont County, Ohio, and the explanation of its contents. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes. Item number 13. Tim Dick?
Item number 13 is also my recommendation with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to authorize David L. Painter as the Clermont County authorized representative of the local Workforce Development Board to execute Amendment Number 1 to the Data Sharing and Confidentiality Agreement by and between the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services and representatives of local Workforce Development Area 12, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on October 16, 2019, for the provision of wage record information and unemployment insurance claimant data to local Workforce Development Area 12, to be utilized to support the continuous improvement of the local workforce development system, to extend the ending date of the agreement to be effective through September 30th, 2021, and to add additional language as well to revise language in the agreement to provide unemployment insurance claimant data and trends to employers specifically impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, effective upon execution by ODJFS through September 30th, 2021, with all other terms and conditions of the original data sharing and confidentiality agreement to remain in full force and effect.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 13 and recommendation of Timothy Dick, Director, Department Job and Family Services. Do I have a motion to approve? I will make that motion this morning. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Abstain.
Thank you, Tim. Item number 14. Mr. Maloney?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Recommendation of Robert S. Leahy, County Sheriff, with the concurrence of Joe Mooney, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, and Thomas J. Eichel, County Administrator, to authorize Claire V. Corcoran, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute a subgrant award agreement for subgrant number 2020-JG-A01-6250 from the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Office of Criminal Justice Services for funding through the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant, JAG, program provided through the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, Bureau of Justice Assistance for the project entitled Clermont County Drug Unit in the amount of $85,000 with a required cash match in the amount of $28,333 to be allocated from the 2021 annual appropriation for the county sheriff on behalf of the county sheriff of the county of Clermont, Ohio, as designated agency for the administration and implementation thereof pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth herein and in concert with the grant application heretofore filed electronically by the county sheriff on or about 6/3/2020 and the pre-award conditions therefore ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 2/17/21. The JAG grant, as we refer to it as, is the one of the two grants that we have that fund the drug unit as well as the LEF grant, which is the law enforcement fine money grant. We are waiting to hear what that'll be. The JAG grant runs January through December. The LEF grant runs July 1st through June 30th. And we haven't heard yet. That'll be May, early June before we find out what the LEF will be. But this particular grant is one that has gone up a little bit. We were surprised because we were told funding would be a little dollars over last year.
Thank you, Board. You've heard the reading of item number 14 presented by Mr. Maloney. It's a recommendation of Sheriff Leahy with the concurrence of Joe Mooney, the Assistant Prosecuting Attorney. And you've heard the recommendation and the contents of that reading and the explanation. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 15. Mr. Caudell, are you with us this morning?
Yes, Commissioner, I am.
Thank you.
Item 15 is a recommendation of Gary Caudell, Safety Coordinator, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to authorize Jeremy P. Evans, County Engineer, to execute and submit an application for a trench safety grant to the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation, which is located at 30 West Spring Street, Columbus, Ohio 43215-2256, relative to the purchase of an aluminum trench box for the purpose of maintaining safe working environments for the county engineer staff as they work to replace or repair underground road infrastructures in the estimated amount of $6,400, with a local match in the amount of $1,600 for a total project estimated amount of $8,000 pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions specified therein. Commissioners, during the pandemic, the Bureau of Workers' Compensation closed all grants. And as of March 1st, 2021, Clermont County is eligible to apply for $12,000 from the Bureau of Workers' Compensation. Now, this is a 4-to-1 matching grant, which means the Bureau of Workers' Compensation will provide $4 for every $1 Clermont County invest in the intervention. So that's why we presented this.
Thank you, Mr. Caudell. Board, you've heard the reading of item number 15 and the explanation therein by Mr. Caudell. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes, thank you. Item number,
Commissioners.
thank you. Item number 16. Good morning, Emily. Good morning. Thank you for being with us.
I have a recommendation of Linda L. Fraley, the Clermont County Auditor, and the Office of Management and Budget to approve the establishment of Fund 2009, the Local Coronavirus Recovery Fund, to accumulate revenue paid by the U.S. Treasury and to account for the expenditures of such funds. The establishment of this fund is acceptable under Ohio Revised Code Section 5705.09.
Board, you've heard the reading presented by Emily Akers of the Office of Management and Budget. Do I have a motion to approve? Number 16.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 17. Do we have Mr. Mooney with us this morning again?
There he is.
Jason.
I'm here. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning.
Item number 17, recommendation of Jason Fountain, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, with the concurrence of Thomas Eigel, County Administrator, to authorize Claire B. Corcoran, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute a satisfaction of mortgage, certifying that the terms of the mortgages and promissory notes they secured as dated have been satisfied, and authorizing the recorder to release said mortgages of record for the following properties as they relate to the CHIP program as outlined below. Applicable properties are Charlotte Black, 6315 Newtonsville Road, Pleasant Plain, Ohio, 45162. Executed June 13th, 2016. Recorded June 28th, 2016. Official Record Book 2644, pages 2426 through 2431.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 17 presented by Mr. Mooney, and this is satisfaction of the mortgages as presented to us this morning. Do I have a motion to approve number 17?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes, thank you. Item number 18, Sherry Kamara.
Morning, Sherry, Smart Community and Economic Development. I have a recommendation of Michael McNamara, Director, Department of Community and Economic Development, with the concurrence of Greg Bickford, Assistant County Administrator, to authorize Claire B. Corcoran, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute a contract for services by and between the Board of County Commissioners of Clermont County, Ohio, and Smart Services, Inc., located at 1900 Crown Park Court, Columbus, Ohio, for the completion of environmental reviews of 9 projects identified in the Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan for fiscal year 2020, as required by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, in accordance with the scope of services identified in Exhibit A attached thereto and made part thereof, for a total amount not to exceed $9,750, with said services to be completed within 45 calendar days upon issuance of a written notice to proceed from the Department of Community and Economic Development, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein, and contingent upon the release and receipt of the purchase order required.
Thank you. Item number 18, do I have a motion to approve this recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Thank
you, Sherry. Good morning.
Thanks, Sherry.
Item number 19. Good morning, Wayne.
Good morning. I'm Wayne Prescott, Fleet Manager, Clermont County Fleet Management Department. It's my recommendation, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, that the Board of County Commissioners resolve to donate the Clermont County to the Clermont County Public Health at 2275 Bower Road, Batavia, Ohio, 45103, a 2020 Ford Transit T250 motor vehicle, serial number 1FTB R1C 84LKB 35836, thereby becoming the responsibility of the receiving agency, to be used to mitigate or respond to the COVID-19 pandemic acquired by Clermont County on December 30th, 2020, using Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, which is CARES, funds pursuant to and in compliance with Section 307.12D of the Ohio Revised Code.
Board, you heard the reading of item number 19 is presented by Wayne Prescott, Fleet Manager, Clermont County Fleet Management Department. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Thank you. Item number 20.
I'll take number 20.
Mr. Bickford?
It's a recommendation to adopt resolution number 47-21, resolving to authorize Thomas J. Agel to file an application and to execute a contract to authorize Thomas J. Agel, County Administrator, or the Director of the Clermont County Transportation Connection to furnish such additional information as required in connection with the application and contract on behalf of the Clermont County Board of Commissioners with the Ohio Department of Transportation, located in Columbus, Ohio, for the Ohio Rides to Community Immunity Program in the amount of $119,143, effective upon execution, for the purpose of providing rides for testing, vaccines, and other COVID-19 related trips, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 20 presented by Mr. Bickford. This is resolution number 047-21. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Item number 21. Yvonne Smith, are you with us this morning? Good morning.
Yvonne Smith, Benefit Plan Coordinator for Clermont County. It is my recommendation, with the concurrence of Sandy Tahat, Human Resources Administrator, to authorize Claire B. Corcoran, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute Amendment 2 to the Participation Agreement by and between Clermont County and Optum RX Incorporated of Schaumburg, Illinois, and to acknowledge the changes to the compensation schedule as defined in Attachment 1, Exhibit A, compensation attached thereto and made a part thereof for the provision of services relative to the prescription drug plan for all eligible Clermont County employees and their dependents, effective for the period of 1/1/2021 through 12/31 of 2023, pursuant to the terms and conditions set forth therein.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 21 as presented by Yvonne Smith, Benefits Coordinator, and with the concurrence of Saunders Tahat, Human Resources Administrator. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes, thank you, Yvonne. Good morning to you.
Thank you.
Item number 22. We have Caleb Peterson on this morning, Chief Dog Warden. Good morning, Caleb.
Good morning.
Item 22 is yours.
Yes, ma'am. It is my recommendation as Chief Dog Warden, with concurrence of Greg Bickford, Assistant County Administrator, to adopt resolution number 042-21, establishing reasonable fees for adoption of non-redeemed dogs in the care or custody of the Clermont County Animal Shelter, that are not otherwise expressly provided for in Chapter 955 of the Ohio Revised Code, effective 04/01/2021.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 22, and this is recommendation of Calla Peterson, Chief Dog Warden, Clermont County, Ohio, and this is to adopt resolution number 048-21. Do I have a motion to approve this morning?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, could we go over those reasonable fees?
Yes, sir. Let me pull them up. So as of now, we reached these numbers by looking at 19 local shelters and rescues. We took an aggregate number, and we are still below that aggregate number. Right now, for these fees do not include the yearly licensing fee, which is $16. For dogs over the age of 8 months, it'll be $120. For puppies or dogs below 8 months, it'll be $170. And for senior dogs that are over 8 years, $85, with a per diem set fee for reclamation at $15.
Any other clarifications this morning?
That was it. Thank you.
Thank
Hearing
you.
none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Thank you, Callum. All right, we have finished the non-consent agenda at this time, and we're moving to item number F, or letter F. We have any additions this morning, Mr. Bickford?
And I have 5 for your consideration.
Okay.
Would you like me to read them one at a time or read them all together? How would you like to handle that? We normally don't have this many. What do you think, Holly?
I would read them together as an add-on. I would read them together as an add-on to give the opportunity to allow the board to vote to add those on.
Okay.
And then we'll read each item individually.
Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. The first proposed add-on is actually removing or bringing item number 8 from the March 22nd session back onto the table. This was addendum number 8 to the lease agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the BMV space at 457 Main Street, Batavia, Ohio. It's the first one. The second one is an add-on for the Water Resources Department. It is a memorandum of understanding between the Board of County Commissioners on behalf of the Water Resources Department, as well as Union Township Board of Trustees, relative to extending the public sanitary sewer along Round Bottom Road in Union Township. Our third add-on is, again, for the Water Resources Department. It is the approval of maintenance bonds as surety for the installation of water and sanitary sewer main in the Terrace Ridge subdivision of Union Township. Number 4 add-on.
Greg, just for a second, there are 2 in the Terrace Ridge subdivision. Right?
I have water and sewer.
Right.
One water main extension bond, maintenance bond, and 1 sewer main.
Right. So this one that you're talking about is performance and maintenance and sidewalk? Or are you talking about?
No, I apologize. These 2 were stuck together.
Two separate ones. One is from the Water Resources Department and one is from the engineer's office.
I apologize for that. So the first one is water resources,
Okay.
as mentioned, and then the next one is for the one is the water main. The second one is the sewer main.
Okay.
And then the next add-on we have is for the county engineer, the Terrace Ridge subdivision, performance and maintenance bond for Terrace Ridge subdivision as well. That is item number, I believe that's 5. And then the last one would be discussion with the prosecuting attorney regarding recently concluded litigation.
Greg, could we go over this, please, for another clarification? I'm not sure we have all the paperwork. Just make sure we're in order.
Okay.
Okay, the first one that you're adding on is item number 8 that was on 3/22/21. We tabled that, we're bringing it back out on the floor today, correct? Okay, what's my second one then?
The second one that we are going to do is the MOU between the county commissioners on behalf of the Water Resources Department and the Union Township Board of Trustees for the extension of the sanitary sewer along Round Bottom Road.
Okay.
That's 2.
Okay, we got 2.
2. Okay. Number 3 is an add-on for Water Resources Department for maintenance bonds for the installation of water and sanitary sewer main extension for the Terrace Ridge subdivision.
That's
Got it.
3.
That's 3.
Three.
Okay.
Count.
We got enough fingers.
Number 4 is for the county engineer for a combined performance and maintenance bond for that same subdivision, Terrace Ridge subdivision, for sidewalks
Okay,
of Centerview Drive and Northview Drive.
that's 4.
Okay.
And number 5 was?
And 5, last but not least, is discussion with the prosecuting attorney regarding recently concluded litigation.
Okay,
Okay?
Okay. Got them all. Thank you kindly.
That's a lot.
we're with you.
Okay, so now we need a motion to add these 5 items to the agenda this morning. Do I have that motion?
I'll make the motion to add.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Now we'll take them one at a time. Do you want to present this morning, Mr. Bickford? Thank
I'll
you.
present the first one. I have Mr. Wade Grabowski here. So this is for addendum number 8 to the lease agreement with the Ohio Department of Public Safety for the lease of office space at 457 West Main Street, Batavia, Ohio, for the purpose of driver's examination operations. Now, if you recall, you had tabled this. You had some questions on the particular lease agreement, and Mr. Grabowski from our Facilities Management Department is here to talk about that.
And specifically, that question was about the area that the state of Ohio uses for supervised driving license exams and how it takes up that parking lot.
And that is correct. Back in a little history, back in October of 2020, due to the pandemic, the state of Ohio basically canceled the in-car where the examiners were going in the actual car with the people taking the test. They canceled that. We had an outcry from some of our citizens that basically said, hey, we are now having to drive to Seven Hills, Middletown, Butler County. It's not right. It's not fair. We looked into it, and we could make a driver's testing area that what they would do is stand outside the car. The parent or guardian would be in with the person taking the test, and they would observe from outside. State of Ohio has indicated that they didn't like that test because it really does not exercise a true test or ability of that driver, but they let it go. We managed that through December, January, February, and up till this date. It is not a good situation. It creates, in my opinion, a lot of havoc as far as traffic. The one good thing that I will say is we are in compliance with the terms of the lease agreement in that they are required to have 50 locations or spots. They do have 56. But let me clarify that. The 56 spots are very scattered. It does not present to us a very good flow of traffic in my opinion. So therefore, this will be what the board would have to make a decision on. I have talked to the state of Ohio. I've talked to the regional manager for the driver's training. His name is Kip Morris. They are very appreciative for any consideration the board would give them. Currently, they have testing scheduled out till the 21st of April. They would like very much to be able to keep those. They would just simply need a notification that if they're not able to get back into the cars by a certain date, we are going to go back to the way it was prior to this change that we did to the parking area. When I talked to the state of Ohio regarding this, they were very appreciative of anything you do, and they said if you want them to cut, currently they're doing 60 tests a day down there, so that's 60 additional vehicles, and sometimes 2 vehicles per person driving, depending on the families and all that. They told me that they would go ahead and cut it to 50, 40, 30, whatever would help in the interim, but they would like consideration to keep the current testing that they had so our citizens didn't have to reschedule and get at a later date in another location.
Okay.
And that's really the findings that I had.
So they're already through April 21st.
Yes, ma'am.
Probably more today as we go
That
along.
was Mr. Bickford, I believe that was at 3 p.m. yesterday.
Okay, all right.
Now, what I would have to do, board, I would have to, with your authorization, I would have to let them know, okay, stop making appointments at Clermont County Batavia office, and then we would have to consider the, what the time frame would be that you say we're going to go back to. If you're not able to get back in the vehicles so we can go back to normal, then you have until this date, and we'll no longer do driver's testing at this location. But if you go down there, and I don't recommend it, I know some of you have, it's really not the best of situations. I'm very surprised actually that we haven't had an incident or an injury, with all this chaos that's down there.
And I was there. I had to renew my driver's license. As I was coming in, somebody else, I had to back up to let another car through, so.
What we have done, if I may, and I don't know if the board wants this information, but we have done an analysis with the county administration, and we actually changed some of the signage to make it better, but it's still not perfect. We have a flow now, but it only takes one person to not read a sign, not follow the road directions, and the whole thing is out of whack. I will say that the DX, the driver of the state, Kip Morse, he could not give me a date. He could not tell me when they were going to be able to get back in the vehicles, and he said he didn't even want to guess. If he were going to be a guessing person, he said maybe July or August, but that's not his decision. So I don't think we really know, when they're going to be able to get back into vehicles. It would be, I'm assuming, from the office of the governor, when restrictions were lifted, but as of right now, they are not letting them in the cars to do the testing.
Is Clerk Wiedenbein abreast of the situation, what's going on down there?
Yes, she is. I have not, of course, because there's no decision has been made. I have told her that I would get back with her. She is being affected throughout this because when people see the chaos, in the parking lot and the long lines that creates, she runs the auto title portion of it, which is a big contributor to the, to the county. They wind up having to go somewhere else and not here to our local store. And it's really become a real nuisance for her customers as well. This was a concept of a one-stop shop. It worked perfectly for 14, 15 years, but this slight change in the way we're doing things really has presented us a problem.
So, Mr. Vickford, what kind of a recommendation do we have this morning on this for the board?
Well, I think that facilities has done a pretty good job of kind of cleaning it out the way it is now. I would say you leave your appointments as is, and then you decide at what point you want to give the state to, and then we can try to look for alternate accommodations. But at this point, if you already have them scheduled, you might as well leave them, or come up with a date, whether it's May 1st, whether it's April 30th, whatever it may be, and then we go back to the way it is. But maybe we let Wade work that out with all the parties involved.
Yeah, I would need authorization from the Board of County Commissioners to discuss this with the DX. But our recommendation would be there's no reason to not approve the DX if you see fit, the DX lease. But I think we have to keep in mind that these changes that we're going to do really have to be done. I'm not confident that they're going to be able to be back in those vehicles, and I think it's more important to the citizens of the Clermont County to be safe in one of our locations than having to drive an extra half hour to another location if needed.
Okay.
So we have, this is our first edition, number 1 this morning on our additions, which was actually item 8 we tabled on 3/22/21. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve this prior recommendation?
I'll make a motion that with the recommendation of Mary Raines, Director of the Office of Managing Budget, with the concurrence of Thomas Eigel, to execute addendum number 8 to the lease agreement by and between the Board of County Commissioners, Clermont County, Ohio, and the Ohio Department of Public Safety Office of Facility Management, Leasing and Land Management, 1970 West Broad Street, Suite 222, Columbus, Ohio, 43223, previously ratified by the Board on 10/19/2005 and subsequently amended on 1/4/2006, 4/10/2007, 7/6/2011, 6/12/2013, 3/4/2015, 5/10/2017, and 4/22/2019 for the lease of 1,939 square feet of office space within the county building located at 457 West Main Street, Batavia, Ohio, 45103 for the purpose of driver's examination operations and to provide for the extension thereof for an additional term beginning July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 23 at the annual rate of $26,273.45 to be remitted on a quarterly basis as stated therein, which includes additions, deletions, or modifications to the initial lease agreement and subsequent addendums. Specifically, Article 2 relative to lease term, rate, and invoicing with all other terms and conditions of the reference lease agreement and amendments thereto to remain in full force and effect.
And also to authorize Mr. Wade Grabowski to continue that communication with the state of Ohio as to the future impact at this facility. Do I have a second to
I
that?
will.
As part of your recommendation, Commissioner Painter, are you requesting at this time that this item be removed from the table from the March 22nd, 2021 regular session of the board?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Remove this item from the table for consideration.
Thank you.
So I made a motion to remove it.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Now the item's off the table, and someone can make a motion to approve item number 8 as read.
Mr. Bickford, do you want to do the motion this morning, please?
I have a motion to approve addendum number 8 as stipulated from the March 22nd, 2021 meeting, subject to Mr. Grabowski working with the state to find alternative solutions to the parking issues.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Item number 2 on our additions today. We have Lyle Bloom this morning, Water Department.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi,
I'm
good
Lyle
morning.
Bloom, Director. Lyle Bloom, Director with Clermont County Water Resource Department, and this is my recommendation with the concurrence of Greg Bickford, the Assistant County Administrator, to execute a memorandum of understanding between the Clermont County Board of County Commissioners on behalf of the Clermont County Water Resources Department and the Union Township Board of Trustees, 4350 Eichholz Road, Cincinnati, Ohio, relative to extending public sanitary sewer along Round Bottom Road in Union Township pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein. So the necessity for this MOU, there's a proposed sewer extension along Round Bottom Road, total length of about 1,764 feet. The project is actually being managed, it's being bid out and managed by the Clermont County Transportation Improvement District. About 330 feet of the sewer extension is located in the railroad right-of-way. Typically, when we have to cross through the railroad right-of-way, traditionally, we like to get a permanent recorded easement. However, but that takes sometimes a couple years. That's a very lengthy process, working with the railroad. However, the railroad, the one we're working with is Cincinnati Eastern Railway. They have a pipeline agreement that they can expedite and move fairly quickly. However, again, our preference is to get a recorded easement. So the township, what this MOU states is that the township is going to enter into the pipeline agreement. The Union Township will. They will actually own that 330 feet of sanitary sewer that's within the railroad right of way. And then the township will be responsible for all the terms and conditions of the pipeline agreement. What the board will do through the Water Resource Department, we will own and operate that sanitary sewer, including the 330 feet of within the railroad right of way. The board is going to reimburse the township for the $275 annual license fee that's required by the railroad. And then we're going to pursue a permanent easement. Again, that may take several years to get. If we do not get the permanent easement within 48 months, the railroad pipeline agreement will be assigned to the Board of County Commissioners and will then take over any of the responsibilities and requirements of that pipeline agreement.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 2 in our additions this morning and recommendation of Lyle Bloom for this memorandum of understanding. And this is with the Union Township Board of Trustees relative to extending the public sanitary sewer along Round Bottom Road in Union Township. Do I have a motion to approve this morning?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 3, Lyle, is yours. No, it's not yours. Yes, it is.
I'll take that one also.
Okay, thank you.
Recommendation to execute maintenance bonds in the amounts outlined as surety for the installation of water and sanitary sewer main extension to serve the Terrace Ridge subdivision section 7 to Union Township. The water bond is for $3,400 and the sewer bond is $7,900.
Board, you heard the reading of item number 3 in our additions this morning, recommendation of Lyle Bloom, and this has to do with the execution of the maintenance bonds, and this is for the installation of water and sanitary sewer main extension, Terrace Ridge subdivision. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Thank you, Lyle. Item
Thank you.
number 4, Engineer's Office.
Good morning, Craig Reisner, County Engineer's Office.
Morning.
Recommendation of Jeremy Evans, County Engineer, with concurrence of Thomas Eigel, County Administrator, to execute record plat number 6293271 for the following subdivision located in Union Township, and to further execute a combined performance maintenance bond as well as a performance bond for sidewalks. This is Terrace Ridge subdivision section 7 in Union Township. The performance bond is $222,000 and the sidewalk bond is $38,320.
Board, you heard the reading of item number 4 in our additions this morning, and this is presented by Craig Reisner of County Engineer's Office. And this is for the performance maintenance bond for sidewalks and the maintenance bond performance. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. We have one more addition this morning, is that correct?
I have Mr. Ramos here from the prosecutor's office.
Morning, Counselor.
Discussion of recently concluded litigation.
As the board knows, I sent to you a copy of the decision of the 12th District Court of Appeals that was issued on, I guess, Monday, March the 29th, regarding the litigation of Christopher Hicks versus the Clermont County Board of County Commissioners. At this point in time, the Court of Appeals, having ruled in favor of Mr. Hicks, the decision is before the board as to how to proceed. We can simply accept the opinion and address the issues that the court has ordered, or the board can choose to file a notice of appeal and ask the Supreme Court of Ohio to take jurisdiction of the case and to address a conflict of cases with another district court of appeals. So the decision just needs to be made by the board so we know how to proceed.
Board, Mr. Ramos has presented to us this morning the option to either accept the final, what we just got on this case from Mr. Hicks, or go ahead and file something for a notice of appeal to the Supreme Court. Is that correct, Ohio?
It would be a two-part appeal, yes.
Two-part appeal. Do I have a motion this morning to either one? Is there a recommendation?
I would make a recommendation that we file a two-part appeal on case number CA 2020-06032.
Is there a second to that recommendation?
I will second.
We're making that in the form of a motion. Is that correct, Mr. Painter?
That's correct.
All right, and there's a second. Is there any further discussion on this morning? Clarification by Counselor.
To clarify on the two-part, there's another case out of a different district court that rules in favor of what our position was. So there's a conflict of the two courts. So we would ask the Supreme Court of Ohio to take the case and consider those conflicts cases. Then the other part would be simply to ask the court to take jurisdiction of the case and accept the case. This is, with the Supreme Court, they don't have to accept the case. So we would ask them under those two thought processes to take the case and make a decision.
Mr. Ramos, at this point, would you mind stating for us exactly what our motion should be so that we're all on the same page here, exactly what that motion should be at this point?
It would just be a motion to appeal the decision of the 12th District Court of Appeals in the manner that, where we would ask for them to, the Supreme Court, to make a decision on the conflict of decisions, as well as to accept jurisdiction on the face of the decision by the 12th District.
Great, thank you. So with that clarification, do we have that motion open on the floor?
I'll amend my motion to the motion as presented by the counselor.
Do I have a second to that amendment? Thank you.
Discussion?
Any discussion on it?
Just one other discussion, Ernie. This particular rendering or this particular decision they issued basically forces the keeping of minutes of records in the content of executive sessions, which basically impacts every public body in the 12th district because of this decision. One of the things that I would ask, is there any way to, and I don't know, I'm just asking, is there any way to file for injunctive relief on this, since the keeping of minutes in an executive session creates a new record and therefore would violate the Open Meetings Act?
I've not seen that done, Commissioner Painter. Typically, a notice of appeal in most civil actions, for example, if someone had sued somebody for a money judgment and they lost or they won and the other side wants to appeal, they can post a bond to, in essence, put a stay on that decision. And I think that's what you're asking, similar in this situation. I think that once you file a notice of appeal as to this case, it probably stays everything, stays the decision until the Supreme Court decides to either accept the case and make a decision or reject the case, in which case immediately everything would come into play.
And you can see my concern. Not only does this particular ruling put this board at a precarious position, but it also puts every board in this county and other counties represented by the 12th District Court in that same position, whether it's a school board, a village, a city, a township, or a county.
That's correct, Mr. Painter, except that what happens and what we do as lawyers, we will cite to other decisions in other districts throughout the state of Ohio, such that in reality this kind of a decision will impact every public body in the state of Ohio.
And so you can see where my concern is, right now. And that concern should be throughout this state, and the 88 counties of Ohio.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So Ernie, in the meantime then, should other entities not be using the executive session? I mean, are they opening themselves up?
I can't say that that's the appropriate course. I would not suggest that.
Probably not an opinion you can give.
Yeah.
No, I understand the concern because we read the decision and we know what it says. I don't think...
One of the things in this is, regardless of the judge, you can't be compelled to violate a law in this state. And this particular decision compels that. And for the record, I will not be compelled to do that.
We've had the motion on the floor. We've had a first, we've had a second. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ernie. Have a good day. Thank you. We move now. We are not having any executive session this morning. We will now move to item number I, which is our member comment session, if we have no other additions. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, then we will move to item I. Are there any member comments this morning? Any comments? Hearing
Only thing
none?
I'll say, don't forget what tomorrow is for the city of Cincinnati and my Cincinnati Reds.
Go.
And they're Bonnie Cincinnati Reds.
I don't-
Nobody else is.
And I don't care if someone does have a Cleveland Indian thing on.
Hey, Commissioner of Clermont County, Commissioner of Baseball.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
There it is.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting this morning.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. We thank you for joining us today, and don't forget, as Commissioner Batchelor said, tomorrow's opening day. Wear your red. Support the Cincinnati Reds.
Go Reds.
Go Reds.